that plain love now seems less interesting. You haven't changed an ounce in my eyes, and I cannot lecture you. And does anything I say seem relevant at all? You've been at the helm since you were just 5, while I cannot claim to be more than a passenger. But you've won one too many fights, wearing all of your clothes.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, part 2. We are back again. You thought we were gone. Little intermission.
Hey.
JoJo's there with me. Yeah, this is our radio show. We'll just talk about any bizarre thing that comes to our head.
Yeah.
Okay, so something I really wanted to, this one scares me. So I think we should be keeping an eye on this one. So the group X, we just say the Jews because it is the religion of, I don't know, what is it, Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe, first of all, they don't believe in Jesus, right? I'm not even going to get into that whole thing, the excrement and all that, but I'm not going to. But they do believe in a Messiah, though they don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah, right? We can say that, right?
Right.
They'll agree with that. That's pretty cursory. But when you start looking into what's the whole thing with their Messiah? So their Messiah comes at the end of the world, when the world turns and everyone hates the Jew. Apparently, this is in their own words. You can go look this up. I mean, prove me wrong here. Like go and do the research and
prove wrong. You won't. You won't.
Yeah, I just mean, yeah, prove it one way or the other to yourself or whatever. Even if I'm wrong, please come and tell me. I absolutely want to be wrong.
Yeah, you're normally spot on, bestie.
So that one is a bit frightening because the implication is basically they're trying to get everybody to hate them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because the question has been asked so many times in the last, I would say 4 to 10 years, why is all this information suddenly coming out on the who's?
Yeah.
And everybody's jumping on board, and then they're like piling up all this damning information, and yeah, and people are really making decisions that they don't want this Group X in their countries anymore. Yet at the same time, the Group X just becomes more prolific in their countries, but not just in their countries, in all their positions of authority and gatekeeping and legislation and lawmaking and running the country and making choices that you didn't ask for or vote for, doing workarounds behind that, political movements, NGO movements, making all decisions that affect your every single daily life, like COVID, for example, and hantavirus, for example, the WHO, the WEF, all these things, going to war with countries that we have, why? And so are they like trying to engineer us to, I mean, it's really bizarre. They want to be hated.
Yeah.
What a strange paradigm to be in.
They want to be, but they also be made to be felt bad for also,
Oh, they love that.
They love that.
Yeah, it's called vetching.
Yes.
Because they do that, and then now you will do one of two things. You'll feel sorry for them, and then they will hold their hand out. Or two, you won't like them, and they can go, see, you hate us.
Right.
And then, so now we deserve even more things. It's always like, whenever anything, like they'll tweak both sides, and they're always getting a bigger gain, slightly more. Like there's a tiny gain every single time. And here's something I want to add: they'll never stop. They're never going to be like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do this. Because a lot of normal people are just like, oh, they're going to evolve. They're going to self-reflect and like get introspective and be like, we need to get along with the rest of the world, or maybe I could just be a little bit more lovable or just a little bit more positive from the world. And they push all that stuff on us,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't do that.
Right.
That's not how they talk in the background. That's not how they talk to each other. That's not all I can tell you is go and listen to what they say the most.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to offer your opinion up or even do that online. It's pointless anyway. It just get you in trouble.
Sure.
Just go and listen to what they have to say. And I really last episode you put up a thing on the overlay. Pick a side because I made a joke.
Yeah.
Basically, like they're calling us Nazis, they're calling us this, they're calling us all these things, and yet they're all these things. And I was just like, pick a side. What I meant by that was not pick actually us to pick a side. We need to stay in the neutral zone.
Right.
We don't want to go to any of these sides. I don't think.
No.
You know,
The news side.
because yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to be. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
That's what I think. I don't know. That's what we were warned about like years ago. This stuff's going to be happening. You're going to have to stay neutral. Just be a witness.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what we're supposed to do. But anyway, that's
They,
wanted to
yeah.
say that.
Yep. They told us both sides were bad, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it come to fruition. Both sides are bad.
They are back. Um, you know, they're really pushing a lot of critical thinkers onto the opposite side right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't totally blame them. I mean, th there are so many problems in the world that really need to be solved. I don't know if I'm ever going to see it in my timeline. I was really hoping to see something, but I've given up that, which is fine. I feel fantastic for giving it up.
Well,
I don't want to expect anything. Now I feel fantastic.
okay. Well, I'm gonna let you live in that realism. However, my hopium is here to tell you that I feel like you are going to in your lifetime because I firmly believe right now. So we talked about and how I don't know how you said it, but you said it perfectly last episode where Trump is the mechanism to use.
Oh, the steering mechanism, yeah.
Oh my God. Because honestly, again, he's being everything everybody needed him to be. And
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, yeah.
it just, well, I had a whole point, but now I lost it. I hate when that happens.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't. When that happens, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't. Don't even make a sound. Just
I
let the
know,
thought finish. It's so hard.
but I think
Gotcha.
what's happening, what we're seeing is like everybody's coming to the center with everybody's different thought patterns. So if you're over here thinking Trump's one way, you're bringing that to the center. These people
Mm.
over here thinks he's one way, they're bringing it. It's all coming to the center, and I feel one day we are going to be unified. And whether or not Trump is good or bad at the end of all this, on the side of good, that's yet to be seen. But I think we're all, who cares what anybody, as long as we as humanity comes to the center finally and seats each other at the table, I think that's the whole point.
There are some groups we're never gonna,
Oh,
I'm just
sure.
putting that out there. There are gonna be groups of people that are just never gonna come around
Oh
ever.
yeah.
Um,
But
and
that's, well,
we're not going to be able to coexist with those groups. And so I don't know how that's going to work in the future. It'll just work itself out. But
yeah.
um, what I meant, I didn't mean any negativity about saying that I've given up. I've given up the expectation of hope that something will happen in my timeline. It's the expectation that something will happen in my timeline that's putting pressure on myself and my mind and my life.
Mm-hmm.
And once I gave that up, I'm like, you know what? As sad as that might be at the moment when I first thought that, I was like, it's fine. And now I'm free of, I'm not affected by some sort of maybe false expectation. If it happens, fantastic. We're all prepared,
Well, and
as prepared as you could be for something amazing to happen like that. But
that
if it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, and if it does, even better, right? So it's all good.
and that is a great point that I hope our listeners, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are at like just their ending point with all of this. And yeah, that's just such a good thing to remember, to just step back
Yeah.
and release that control, because what's going to happen is going to happen. And
Hmm.
I think
And we don't have the ability. Well, we have some. We should control the only things that we can control, which is our immediate surroundings, ourselves
Right.
mainly, right?
Ourselves.
Probably our thoughts, which I'm super bad at. Like I'm totally addicted to thinking things, and I'm like, ah, darn it. So I have to like constantly be like, okay,
But
stay in this positive because there are brainwaves, people. We're like receivers and transducers,
exactly.
transmitters, and we are putting that on the. And listen, I'm telling myself this. Maybe this will help somebody else, but I am fully telling myself this. I'm a hypocrite all the time for not doing this. So I'm reminding myself, and if that helps somebody else as well, that's great.
And I
It
think
can't hurt.
right. And critical thinking is so important. Society went away from critical thinking. So you say that, it's too much sometimes. It's not too much. More people need to have the brain that we have as anons, where we constantly want to dig for the truth. Because
Sorry.
yeah, it's so comfortable to sit in the lie, sure, but once you know
Well, remember, yeah, I mean, remember, we're being socially engineered.
exactly.
Gosh, sorry, I'm funny. We are being socially engineered by both sides, if there are two sides, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think the biggest tip or advice that I've gotten that still holds true is like always give everything at least 24 hours to marinate. Again, I'm
Yeah,
guilty of not doing this.
I do too.
I love to emotionally just jump to conclusions. I do it all the time. But if you give something even 24 hours, 48 hours, I mean, right? We joke about this all the time. It'll reverse course like 50 times
It does. It
and then
really
dissipate into the wind. And by next week, that story isn't even circulating anymore. And it takes all your like memory power to just try it even to what the hell were we talking about last week?
right. I know.
You know,
Just
and everyone's like, time's moving so fast, and I think that's wise because they're like pushing, yeah, like the Illuminati had an agenda that they were going to slowly roll out, and now they're being forced to roll it out faster and faster and faster and faster. So that's why all these news stories just keep flying through, and then they're off to the next news story because they're like, ah, dang it, that one didn't work. That one, they're like trying to put these bombs out, and the bombs get de-bombed. That's not a word. Bombs get taken down by, I guess, the good guys, sort of thing, and and so they're not effective, right? These things that are trying to put out there to affect us negatively, and so they have to go on to the next one, go on to the next one. That gets shot down. Go on to the next one. That one's getting shot down. It's like, oh, put Samantha Guthrie in the news. Boom, that got shot down. Nobody
yeah,
cares. Okay, put out was Michael Jackson alive or dead? Boom, nobody cares. They put what's on to the next one. It's just like on and on and on. Those are probably bad examples, but I just mean, I had to come up with something that was off the top of my head there. But
right. Yeah, I feel like society for so long we've just people are living like they're under the social credit score, which is exactly what they wanted and what we were supposed to get to, but yeah, you just live free, live truthful, live authentic. And
well, what's weird is like I'm not social credit score. Yeah, you're totally right. They are doing that. But okay, if you take if you just go back into like normal society, like normal, for lack of a better term, white Americana, like in the 50s, right? When everyone was like post-war and they were like, everybody had a picket fence, and I didn't live during that time, but it looked like it was really awesome in the 50s and the 60s. People just socially credited themselves. It was like, don't do that. We do that. This is what humans do. Like, don't be an asshole.
mhm,
You know, be nice or do this. Go outside. Those are the kinds of social engineering that it's just inherently in our own social structure.
yeah,
That's why some cultures cannot coexist inside of other cultures, subcultures, right? It's like if your culture is I don't know, killing and killing's like I think that's the biggest sin in the world.
yeah,
If you don't take life seriously and your culture doesn't take life seriously, and then you go into a culture where life is precious.
Mhm.
How can those two cultures coexist? They can't. That's another form of psyopal social engineering, where they know perfectly well that that's exactly what will happen.
Right.
And again, if you go to Group X, the Illuminati, they will tell you that you will find all kinds of articles where they say that we use racial tension as a tool,
Oh, sure.
right? And so this is, and we have to be, and then they gaslight you by shutting it all down where you can't talk about it. You can't talk about that. So screw them.
I know.
We're going to talk about wherever the heck we want to, although we code everything except the sky.
And,
So we're doing it to ourselves again. We have to censor ourselves so they don't censor us. And we probably are going to get censored.
but yeah, but like, and if people don't believe in the social credit score, we're already living it. What do you think, Facebook?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
And that was my point too, is we already have been, even without their influence, we social credit our own society. That's what we did. That's what humans do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you agree on that? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like in your neighborhood on your street, somebody's driving up and down the street with loud music and doing burnouts and stuff. They will be socially engineered by the other neighbors who come out and can fucking knock it off, right? That's a form of it. So
Well,
it's not always bad. They just take these things that are inherently part of human nature and they twist and turn it against us. I think that's my point. That's all point I'm trying to make. Would you agree with that or no?
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Facebook is a perfect example of that. Most people base their worth on how many followers they have and how many likes they got
Uh,
for what they posted. So we're already under a credit score. How
yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
fine that's supposed to be, that defines who you are. No, no. Character, truth, on authenticity, that's what we need to be defined as now. I'm so tired of I'm so popular because I've got 1,000 people liking. No, no.
And that's exactly why we have like literally 2 followers.
I'm okay with that,
But who cares? I don't care.
Dang it, that's living authentic, and I'll take it.
I'll tell you that I think
I think a
I
lot
don't know, I think
of
we might blow up one day. I think it might be, I think what we're saying is valid. I just hope that sometimes I get all the points across that I would like to. That's all. Sometimes I
if,
don't.
if we make it big, I want it to happen authentically, because I guarantee you a lot of those big podcasters out there, they're buying their followers. You can't tell me they're not.
I mean I think like dudes like Nick Fuentes and
Ugh.
Ben Shapiro and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Charlie Kirk it's, definitely Charlie Kirk at some level. And then other people that I can't even think of. Uh, they're like plants.
Right.
They're total plants. They get put in, Alex Jones. Give me a break. Bill Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
They're plants. Then you got other dudes like, I can't think of his name. Oh, Jake Shields, who, bless his heart, he's trying to do the best he can with information that he's found out, but he already had a huge following because he's like, famous fighter, MMA fighter.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to give him credit at least for already having an audience, and then he had the courage to just say what he was, to be authentic, like you're saying, and that's more organic.
Right.
It wasn't like he was a plant, but dudes like Alex Jones, that's a total plant. That's a CIA plant. He was the comedian Bill Hicks. Then they took him like they always do. The CIA, this is what they do. The CIA will take you to Mexico usually because that's apparently where all the underground plastic surgeons are. And then they have plastic surgery down there, and then there's a whole made up story of why this other, like, Bill Hicks died. And at the same time, all of a sudden, Alex Jones pops out. Have you ever seen any baby pictures of Alex Jones? No, you're not going to find him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any.
Right.
He's amazing. This gets back to the whole, they make up names.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to look up what the word Alex means. I bet that has something to do with it because they'll do that, right? So Bill Hicks turns into Alex Jones. They give him, they fill out his face a little bit more. They're really good at what they do. Another great example is whether or not they killed him or whether or not he killed himself by accident or had an accident, but it was Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
And now we've got Faux McCartney. And so if you go back to the year that he died in the car accident, that was, I think, 69, 68 or 69. And then you'll see it again, because it always follows the same playbook. So the new character, Billy Shears, he disappears because you can go look up William Shears. He was an actor. Then all of a sudden, low-level actor. And then all of a sudden he disappears. Paul McCartney goes to Mexico again. You can't make this up. I'm telling you the truth. You can go look this up yourself.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. Yeah.
And then as soon as he comes back from Mexico, he has a beard. He runs the beard for about a year or two. This is to hide all the facial scarring until they're healed up.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes were slightly different. His voice was slightly different. He had to learn how to play the bass. Go and check it out, man.
Sounds a bit coincidental to me.
Yeah. And here's another one. You've got Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yes, yeah.
And he was like basically waterboarded to death
Yep.
using wine or alcohol or something, right, by his manager. And then after he passes, Jimi Hendrix, I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
under suspicious circumstances, like they all do.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, there's Morgan Freeman, and then again, I go and find baby pictures of Morgan Freeman.
Right.
You can't.
Oh,
I don't think they exist, and
yeah.
that's what.
I've seen a video side by side. Everything from like the freckles and everything on their face matches. Their teeth, everything. Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh, and Jim Morrison.
Yep.
That one's a weird one. Jim Morrison's a really weird one because, first of all, his dad was the admiral on the ship that was supposedly, quote unquote, fired upon in the Bay of Tonkin, started this entire war that killed millions of people on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
They totally wanted that. They used that war to do Operation Phoenix.
Yep.
Which was basically teaching soldiers, and this came from Group X, but it was to teach soldiers terroristic warfare, how to frighten the living bejeebers out of your enemy. And then they turned Operation Phoenix into South America, and then that's where all the drug running started. They used Operation Phoenix to do all that, where they were cutting whole families' heads off and putting them in their laps against their enemy, and so their enemy would come home to find their whole family beheaded with their heads sitting in their laps at a table. There's many stories of that. They did that in like Guatemala, and I have personal friends that their families were killed because of Operation Phoenix and all the drug running.
Yeah.
And then they pray over all the drugs, and they're still doing it in Mexico today. This is still going on.
Gosh.
And this is like and they learned how, the CIA, right, teaching everybody how to do spiritual psyop warfare,
Mm-hmm.
and including demons into your warfare. That's why all the patches have skulls on them, and that's why, like, you have a movie called Venom, right, where the demon is inside you and protects you. And we have videos of people being accosted and maybe getting mugged, and a demon comes out of them. You've seen videos of that, possibly, and that's just recently happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can go.
Live in.
I can go on side rants, huh?
I love them.
I'm the king of side rants. Yeah, okay. I don't even know what we're talking about, but and you know what's crazy is, like, I don't remember any of this as soon as I say it.
And
So when you're like, "Hey, send me stuff on the overlays," I'm like, I have no idea what the heck we even talked about.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is why I'm the engineer.
You are the engineer.
The chief engineer.
Yeah, I have to, like, when I'm doing it, then I go over and I have to listen it over and over and over again. But okay. The last thing I had, just briefly, was
I've got one
the
for you.
the Duende. You ever heard of the Duende?
No.
Duende, the Duende. Yeah, some people say they're evil, but I don't know. they're the elves, they're the fairies, they're the pixies. There's plenty of names for them, and I'm sure they're all different in different areas. Some are darker looking, some are white. Some dress. A lot of times they dress exactly like the gnome with the pointy hats, and they've got pointy shoes. I think it's cute.
Hmm.
Sometimes they help people, sometimes they hurt people, sometimes they take you into their realms where. Oh, I wanted to talk about this today, where time doesn't work the same.
Are those the
And so, yeah, so watch out for the tiny, tiny people. They can help you
are
and stay on their good side. So
are those the tiny beings you see after you eat those mushrooms?
I haven't seen any personally. I know they exist in my house. I know they do.
Hmm.
And usually, okay, so spiritual creatures, whether or not they can like manifest into our physical realm, or what the Jehovah's Witnesses call materialize, Anyway, a lot of these beings have that ability to do that, right? They can come and go out of our visual light spectrum.
Hmm.
But a little hint for everybody out there who's experiencing this or wants to, when they come into your house or whatever, and you don't have to let them in. You can tell them to leave in the name of Jesus and all that stuff. But if when they do, you will know because your house will creak.
Oh.
And as a carpenter and a builder and electrician, it's very, very rare for a house to creak. Like if you're in a giant windstorm, yeah, you're probably gonna get some movement in your house. Sure, why not? Of course. But if it's a still day like today, there's no wind or anything, and then all of a sudden you start hearing like I keep telling you all the time when I go out to the garage, they come in all the time,
Hmm.
especially the garage, and yeah, that's them coming in through the walls and through the ceilings. And when they do that, the spiritual energy it's affecting the physical reality of whatever that 2x4, that joist, the whatever it is, the wall, so you'll hear a creak there. Yeah, so that is them. So that's just a little,
Interesting.
yeah. So keep your ears peeled. You won't be able to see them. Sometimes you can see them, and you have to use your spirit eyes. So you can't like look directly at a spirit and see it. If for whatever reason, I think that's like maybe some sort of filter or program they've put over our eyes,
Hmm.
or that we've done to ourselves, or just the way our eyes work in this spectrum. But you can't try and focus on it or narrow down your vision on it. You have to actually widen and broaden your vision, so you're taking everything in. I call it spirit eyes, and sometimes you will see the movement, and that's when they're there. Especially if it's combined with the creaking of something, because they're coming in through that spot right there, and you will see a move. You'll see movement like a mirage.
Wow.
Like heat signature coming off a hot highway
Yeah,
in the desert. So that's what you'll see in a portal too. As a portal starts to form, it'll start miraging like that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's how it happens. And in fact, I wouldn't doubt that a mirage is in some way exactly that. What's happening is it's disturbing the photons, and so it's confusing what you're seeing because it's waving through the physical reality. So you're seeing through the waveform of the physical reality. That's why it looks like all kind of watery and weird.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just take that into, this is going to be the science of spirituality. That's the next step is the science of spirituality and they're already on it. I'm sure the powers that be or were or are going to be, they all know about this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right? They've been doing it. So yeah,
Mm.
that's that. I wanted to, the duende. So the tiny people, yeah, they're tiny, tiny people. They're all over the world. They move really fast. They're just another race and civilization, and there's probably different races within their race. So yeah,
Well, I've got one for us.
go for
Okay. So, have you been following anything about that new UFO, that star-shaped UFO that they came out?
it. I did, but then I got like limited hangout because they were like, "Oh man, why is it producing a vapor trail?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," but then I came back to it and I go, "Oh, you know what? That's actually I mean, UFOs will have like a field signature, or energy signature, where because they will move stuff, like any other
Well,
like any other uh, device or equipment or plane or anything like that. Jets have a signature, a heat signature off the back, so it's UFOs have them too. We just can't necessarily see them with our eyes. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
okay. So the star UFO looks exactly. Okay, so first the star UFO showed up, I believe, in what, New Jersey back in like 2024 or something like that. Okay.
The one I saw, it was like on a radar, right? So they were tracking it, right?
And that one, okay. Now
Okay.
you go back. So there, first of all, there's been a lot of connections to Trump and Elon and Superman. A lot of people tend to think that Elon is actually being played by Christopher Reeve, which that here nor there at this point. The point I'm trying to make, though, if you've ever watched the first original Superman movie with
Okay.
Christopher Reeve in it, so of course
Yeah.
that connection.
Yeah.
In that movie, baby Superman is lifted off and taken out of his home because it's being demolished. He's put in to this spacecraft that looks exactly like the star-shaped UFO. Okay.
Okay. I don't remember that, but or maybe I
It,
vague. Okay. Yeah. All right.
okay, so there's that. Okay, so there's that connection again to Superman. And
Hmm.
then also, if you go into if you've read the Bible, Ezekiel's wheel they talk about.
Yeah, yeah, that one is the wheel within the wheel with the eyes, and the eyes are all around the wheel, the rings. But
Wheel.
I think there's another there's a yeah, but it's an angel. It's a term for an
Yeah,
angel
yes, and doesn't I mean,
because angels aren't what we think that they are.
and don't you think that star UFO kind of resembles a little bit to what maybe Ezekiel's wheel would look like?
It always keeps coming back to Superman because
Yes,
um
it does.
okay, so it's like the Ubermensch and Superman are tied together. It's something they're trying to work towards. I'm telling you, it's because of Atlantis. It's the smatterings and memories of Atlantis because we're trying to get back there.
Yes,
Then you incorporate that with the whole Jesus, land of Jesus thing, and all those oh, that's what we're going to talk about today. The saints, duh. But all these, I can't think of the name of it. What's it called? Let me go back here. There's writings that they're using. I didn't know about this. I just stumbled across this, but Jason Jack was doing all this where he was looking up these writings. Where is it? Where is it? Of the saints and what the saints were doing, and the saints will all talk about how there's cities in the north, or a city in the north made out of crystal. I'm like, that's Superman again
exactly.
in the North Pole.
Exactly. So this
That's really odd. What I mean, what are the chances of that, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm so glad we discussed this today because yeah, it's just been like, okay, wait a minute. You know, maybe one or two connections, it's like whatever, but so many connections together. And again, I know it sounds weird that Christopher Reeve might be playing Elon right now, but go down that rabbit hole. Somebody go down that rabbit hole. I'm not crazy. I haven't completely lost it yet. But
Oh
no,
my!
so
I
many.
just realized how much we text message. I was just like trying to find this word. Okay, it's called Hagio, hagiographies.
Yeah,
So hagiographies.
yeah.
When you look that up, hold on a second. Hagiographies meaning it is a type of biography that puts the subject. It's no, no. It's they're about saints. It's about saints. Their stories. It says it's a flattering story about a saint. They always got to try to twist it, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Because they don't want to put a negative light on these things. But if you go and look at what these saint stories are, they're talking about like how they're talking about like how okay, they're like, well, after the reign of peace. They say that all the time. After the reign of peace, this and this and this happened, and then they went north. And I'm like, wait, back up.
Yeah,
After the reign of peace,
right.
and I mean, it's not even a fuck. Well, I almost cursed. It's not even a far stretch to say, hey, That's the 1,000-year millennial reign.
Sure.
And it's already happened. And these saints were already ruling with Jesus. Now they're writing it down and talking about it afterwards. The whole Middle Ages and Dark Ages, that was all. Wouldn't it make sense that the bad guys would call the millennial reign the Dark Ages?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're like, no, we didn't know anything during the Dark Ages.
Yeah,
We didn't know anything. But meanwhile, there's like, oh, well, who built these buildings, dude?
exactly.
And then if you go and look at some of the founding texts about how these buildings, which are very slim and far in between, some of them even go, there were angels working on these buildings night and day when the humans couldn't work. The humans would go to sleep and the angels were still working on it.
Yeah.
And then if you start looking at some of this, I mean, I'm telling you, if you start looking at some of these buildings and think about that the angels built them, that's incredible. But like you go and you look at it, and you go, there's just like no way. Like how on earth did this get built? And honestly, even if angels were still building, I would love to know how that is.
Oh, me.
How does that work?
Right. Me too. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So maybe they just like it's like the what's the thing that can create something out of nothing? What's that called? They use it on the cloud ships and it's basically like how we have 3D printing?
Yeah.
That's where this is going to go. The replicator. So the replicator, like Corey Good talks about like sometimes it's about the size of a microwave. Sometimes it's huge, like like maybe like a docking station or whatever. But they like plug it in, type it all in, and they go whatever you want. Like if you want a stack of $100 bills or like a ham steak, it can make it.
Wow.
And the way that science would work is that all molecular structure is potentiality. It's just behind the other side of the veil. So the molecules don't know like gold from lead or grass from air.
Right.
It's a molecule, it hasn't formed yet. You give it the direction on what to form, boom, it magically can. And Richard Shaver talked about this. It's called integrant energy, the pre-energy before it becomes something. And if you can control the design of it, you can create anything, hence the replicator. So could the angels and all these other buildings like throughout the Vedic India or whatever that are like made, that are carved like basically from one solid stone, entire temples with moving parts and chains and stuff, all carved from one stone. I think that there could be like an acoustic vibrational informational set where they're like, and then vibrates into reality.
Yeah. Well,
And then now it's reality.
and they, how they show us always in movies. Remember the original Willy Wonka when
Okay.
he turns the candy bar into a huge candy bar.
So I said to myself, if they can do it with a photograph, why can't I do it with a bar of chocolate? I shall now send this chocolate bar from one end of the room to the other. It has to be big because whenever you transmit something by television, it always ends up smaller on the other end. Goggles on, please. Lights, camera, action! You can remove your goggles.
Where's the chocolate?
It's flying over our heads in a million pieces. Now watch the screen. Here it comes. There it is. Take it.
How can you take it? It's just a picture.
All right, you take it.
It's real.
Taste it. It's delicious. It's just gotten smaller, that's all.
It's perfect. It's unbelievable.
It's a miracle.
It's a TV dinner.
It's Wonka vision.
It could change the world.
Mr. Wonka, can you send other things? Not just chocolate, I mean.
Anything you like.
What about people?
People? I don't really know. Suppose I could? Yes, I'm sure I could. I'm pretty sure I could.
Does it by this technology, this machine that just kind of zaps it, puts it into the air, he starts talking about how, oh yeah, the molecules in the air will construct it to this size, and to this perfect.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Did you really? God,
yeah.
it's weird that I think I'm coming at it from one angle, and you always know the other angle. It's so strange.
I know, and for not being a movie buff, I sure know a lot of movies. I know.
I used to think I was a movie buff. I can't remember anything anymore.
Crazy. And here's the thing that's even more crazier is I'm not a big movie buff, but it seems like the parts in the movie that I'm able to recall now,
Mhm.
yes, always stuck with me for this moment, I think. Like,
Yeah, for this moment in time.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, they could also be like touching our memories because our memories don't exist in our brain.
Yeah.
Our brains are just the receiver, the mechanical sort of organic squishy part that
I hear
that that's the receiver or whatever, but it's really the outside energetic um chi body
I hear
that
our
houses
air.
our memories. And it'd be very simple for a ghost, God, source, an angel, a demon, whatever, to just touch that and inject a thought or a memory or just to light something up in our outside memory or in our outside chi vril field, and then that's how it like translates down into what we think is memory or a thought or something.
Well, and the Native Americans, believe that like your hair holds a lot of your memories. And,
Oh yeah, totally.
you know,
I totally agree with that.
yeah.
That's the vril from remember it was Maria Orsis or something. What was her? And she was part of the vril group. Which let's not get confused. The vril is a term that's being bandied about and naming a lot of different things. But in the National Socialists were using these gals who never cut their hair, right? They're in the vril group,
Mm.
and that's how they got the blueprints for the UFOs.
Oh, wow.
They did auto pen writing and they downloaded all the information and they built it and then yeah, it freaking worked. That's the freaking the bell thing that you sent me the other day. The
Oh,
die Glock. That's what the bell is.
oh my gosh. I forgot I
And why is
that.
it shaped like a bell? Because that shape is super, super important.
Oh, yes.
Why are UFOs shaped like cymbals on a drum kit? Why?
Yep.
You
Yep.
know why? Do
Why?
you know why?
Why?
Because vibrations and energy is vibration, right? Will travel from the inside to the outer layer and then travel up. And that's how you get anti-gravity. Because if you create gravity, whatever gravity is, which I strongly suspect is electrical or electrical magnetic attraction versus opposition, opposing the opposite, right? So if you can create magnetic attraction in the opposite point of where you're being pulled to, which is Earth down. So if you point it up, you can equalize that energy, and then now you're floating, and then you could even go off in the other direction or any direction that you want. It's shaped like a cymbal. It's shaped like a bell because that's how sound and energy and acoustics travel. It travels from the inside to the outside and meets at the top in a vorticular motion, uh, just like I can't remember. Schauberger, Show. I can't remember these names, but he was the scientist that was talking about that. William Show. I'm not even going to try anymore. And I have a huge book that talks about all this. And so what happens is you create a vortex or a whirlpool, if you will, an unseen one through electromagnetics in the opposite direction, and that's how you get anti-gravity. And that's why a lot of the ships look like bells and they look like symbols and the flying saucer shape. That's how they do it. And so that first ship, the Die Glock, the Bell, also becomes a time machine too, because it can morph in and out of our time sequence structure that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
It becomes a different. It creates its own universe inside, and so time would work differently inside there if you wanted it to. And anyway, so the thing that you sent me, the video that you sent me, it's floating around, and that's exactly like the John Searle motor, who put a bunch of wrap transformers, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And so each one of those transformers is like boosting or downgrading magnetical energy. And if you put it in a circle, then it starts to create a field, and it starts building and building and building. And if you don't control that, it will just keep building indefinitely. And what happened when John Searle was first making his motor, he kept coming out in the morning, and everything would be gone
Oh my gosh.
because it would just take off while he wasn't watching it. And he couldn't figure out what was going on. So then he started chaining it to the ground, and it would break the chains and take off. So then he had to like put a rheostat in there so that he could like turn it up and turn it down and stuff. So you have to like be able to control the intensity of it.
Yeah,
But that is how they're doing it.
that's crazy.
And it's really weird that all the bells of the old days are shaped like bells. I mean,
Yeah.
right? And did you see that Austria just recently recreated a new bell, and they're actually got it all hooked up and they're ringing it?
Oh my gosh. I did not
Yeah, I don't, where are we going in this world? Wow.
see. And you said nothing's happening.
I forget. I forget.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, hey, we need to wrap this up.
Oh man, what a great one.
I
Okay.
know it goes so fast.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this week's episode as much as we enjoyed sharing it with everybody. So hope you guys have an awesome week. And this is Two P's. We're gonna sign out for part 2 here. What number did I say it was? 16?
Woo!
I'll have to go back and check those numbers. But yeah, okay, guys. Yeah, thanks for being here. And Maddie and JoJo out.
We love you to the moon.
Bam, 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 bam.